Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and the tea is hot. The tea is hot, and I didn't do a video yesterday. I did take a break off to kind of catch up with everything that's going on in my world, and also to take some time to look at the R.Kelly interview. Did you guys see the R.Kelly interview? It wasn't that long. He did it on CBS, I believe, with Gail, and I looked at it, and my God, first of all, let me say this, that I don't think that it was the smart move on him doing that in front of the camera. I can understand that he had said up until this point, he hadn't, really spoken out, and he hadn't done that. But he revealed a side to himself that I filmed. This is just my opinion. This is just like a mashup right now, where I'm just discussing and giving you my opinion. I'm not doing any kind of really psychic reading on R.Kelly, because I've already done a psychic reading, and so far everything that I've said is coming out to light and being validated. And y'all can check that psychic reading out. It's still on my channel. If you just go to my channel and search R.Kelly psychic reading, you can pull that up. And I also will probably put a link here on this video. But yeah, I was terrified for a few moments. I really feared for Gail's safety, that he was going to go ahead and punch her. He was punching his fist, and he was just acting erratic, and he put on a good performance. I feel like part of it was actually himself, how he feels right now is like cornered up against the wall, and a lot of this is setting in. But in the mind of a narcissist, to a certain point, they are always going to kind of bend and twist things and pull them around, turn things around. You know, it's strange, that I want to feel sympathy for him, but at the same time I don't feel sympathy, because these were innocent women's lives, children that were basically abused. They were minors, and even if the parents knew about it, I agree with everyone out there, the parents are responsible as well, because even like Wendy Williams, I was watching her yesterday. Why are you going to leave a 13-year-old or 15-year-old with a 40-year-old or 50-year-old man? It makes no common sense. And the whole thing with a lot of these people, like the psychic reading I'm going to do on Jocelyn, is that, the parents said, well, it was only for professional reasons. But those parents knew already his history, what he had done with Aaliyah. They were not oblivious to it. So to state that it's just for business purposes is almost like not saying that they're not responsible in a way. And like I said before in my video, it's not just R.Kelly that needs the help, and that should be held accountable, but a lot of these parents should also be responsible, for everything that is going on, because you are not going to, who in their right mind is going to leave a 13 or 14-year-old in a studio, and not be present. If you're a responsible parent and you know that this person is a known, offender, why are you going to even leave them with him? And that's what it's kind of hard to see. But clearly, I'm not here to judge him, even though it may come across in this video that I'm judging R.Kelly. I'm not. It is what it is, and the facts are out there. He had a history, and the Shade Room had actually reported, and one of my soul family had tagged me on it. And then I looked at some of the comments. I made a comment myself, and then people were coming for me, and I was like, well, what do these women really have to gain? And they were like, well, they have, a biopic movie deals that could come from it. They're making money, getting paid, they're doing tours, etc. But then I was like, well, didn't he make money off of the songs that he made off of his victims? A lot of his songs and his lyrics are about, things that he did. But again, I couldn't help but feel sorry for him, not because of the horrible things that he's done, because that I cannot feel sorry for. I feel sorry for R. Kelly, the person, the human being that has mental issues, and it became very apparent that he had mental issues. He has mental issues. In the interview, he was very unstable. He was talking over Gail, being very rude to her, no respect whatsoever. And I know that he was emotional and he wanted to, get his story out, but this wasn't the way of doing it. And any legal team, is crazy to put, him. But I feel like this was R. Kelly's doing, and possibly even his lawyer, his defense team, wanting him to kind of show this side to him, to the camera, because people, you'd be surprised, the majority out there after this interview, a lot of people feel sorry for him. A lot of people have forgiven him for that and say, let the man go. These are past issues. A lot of people still don't feel like he's guilty. They think the women are lying. But then my question is to you, if what he did to these women was done to someone in your family, your child, would you be feeling the same way about him? So I think a lot of people are trying to defend him because, first, he's a black man. And lately, with a lot of the black community, a lot of, us out there are noticing that there's trends that are, where a lot of like Bill Cosby and then R. Kelly and, there's just a lot, and then Jesse Smollett, there's a lot of, issues going on in the black community. But like some people have said, usually it's, if it was a white person or white people, coming against R. Kelly, it would be a different story. But this is us, the black community, that are coming up against our own brother, out there. And it's like now people are taking it more serious and looking at that. This whole thing overall is so complicated. It's so disturbing in every sense of the word. Gail was very composed, and very, I felt like she was kind of, she did say, you are playing the victim, Robert. And she never named him R. Kelly, his stage name. She always named him Robert by his real name, So I feel like she was almost like, I feel like he was acting out like a child in some ways. And she was being the mom, to him. Mentally he has those issues and he needs help. He needs, she said, I don't know who was it that said that prison may not be the way for him, that he would need something else, other than that. But, he is going to need therapy. He needs help. I feel like this is him crying out, in many ways, and realizing to a certain extent, even though some people are saying it's a performance, which it quite possibly could have been, a performance in many ways. Again, these are just my opinions, but what I see, from a psychic perspective now, this is the insight, is that I really do feel like he is realizing now, that this is not good. He's been dropped by his record company. He has a lot of people that have turned against him, people that he's collaborated with. He doesn't have the money to pay his child support. Later that day, I got another message from a Soul family member and a follower here on YouTube, and they said, they sent me a link, and he had been arrested. He went to go, and I guess he hadn't paid his child support, and it's, I don't know, $160,000 plus, whatever, and they, he went to address that, and they put him behind jail. I figure, he can't pay that. So when you can't pay your child support, that's what happens. But but he, what's so ironic is that he says he wanted to be a part of his children's life. In the interview, he was fighting to have a relationship with his kids, but yet he doesn't pay his child support. I'm like, come on, really? But, like I said, this is just a whole can of worms. Nothing of this. His mental state is really deteriorated. It doesn't take, a rocket scientist. It doesn't take a psychic to sit there and not know, I mean, anyone, even a child looking at that interview could tell that the man, is losing it. He's really losing it. He's manic, depressive. He is schizo. I wouldn't doubt, he's schizo. I'm not diagnosing, but um, yeah, he has some issues and it's not going to be pretty. So like I said in that psychic reading that I originally did for R. Kelly, on R. Kelly, we just got to watch this whole situation. I feel like there's going to be a lot more people coming forward in the next couple of days and weeks, talking more about him and what they've seen, what they've experienced. I also feel like some of these women, he may even, like I said before, sue them. There could be like countersuits, and legal things that are going on, proceedings. It's really, really crazy. Now, supposedly, the word through this, through social media and whatnot, is that Jocelyn Savage is going to be doing an interview with that other girl this Friday, and it's going to air. I don't know, but yesterday evening, as I was winding down for the evening, I came across a clip, and it was a conversation. I don't know if it was Jocelyn or it was staged, but I just listened to it, and it was supposedly she was calling her mom. She was calling her parents, but it was intercepted with like a conference call. I don't know what was going on. It was very weird. Like she asked that person that she needed to speak to her parents. And she was like, it almost felt forced, if this was her. And she basically told her mom to leave it alone, that she is a grown adult, she's happy, but she didn't sound happy in the clip. It was an audio clip of a phone call being recorded, which I find very odd. Who would record a phone conversation? But I guess because they're trying, Jocelyn's parents are trying to establish a relationship with her and get her away from R. Kelly. R. Kelly has right now 2 women living with him, 2 girlfriends. What man do you know is stable, that is stable mentally, that is going to have 2 live-in girlfriends? I mean, that is insane. That's crazy. What's more crazy is the fact that Jocelyn would allow herself to be in that and think that it's okay. That she would think that it's okay for him to have affection for two people at the same time. It's crazy. Which again brings back to this cult, this brainwashed, the people that these women that have been victims of him, are brainwashed. So this is where I'm going to start getting into the psychic reading of this whole thing. When I tune into her, I do feel like she is brainwashed. I mean, honestly, doesn't take too much to see. I do feel like she really is vulnerable and mentally broken down, and she is not going to tell the truth ever. She's going to continue to have this obsession and this being bound to R. Kelly, where she will support him 100% until the very end, and I don't see that changing. And she's going to be judged for who she is and for what she's doing. And people out there really don't hold her in a high self-esteem. And then there's some people that are rooting for her because, she's so passionate about her love for R. Kelly and her dedication. But many years ago, there was this case in Mexico. I believe it was in Mexico. It was with the singer called Gloria Trevi and Sergio Andrade. I believe that was his name. And they had supposedly had a similar situation to R. Kelly. It was a cult, and Gloria was this Latino singer, and still is a singer, that was supposedly recruiting girls, underage girls or young girls, for this man before he got caught and put in prison, whatnot. It was a big, big case. I was a young child, so I don't remember too much of it, but it reminds me so much of what is going on here. Whether she's recruiting girls or for him or whatever she's done, in the past, I do feel like there's a certain level of fear with Jocelyn. So that's what I see for her. Her parents do want to get her out of this, but I don't feel like to this point she's going to really budge. She is going to stick by R. Kelly's side, basically, and is very defensive of him. Anybody that talks bad about her, she just is not gonna, or about him, she's not gonna have it. But there is darkness to this. I don't feel like it's love. I don't feel like R. Kelly loves her. There's no love here. There is a friendship beyond that, but it is like a cult, and he denied even that on air. But obviously, that I spoke about that in my psychic reading, and then it's been in a book as well that someone wrote about him, having this hoodoo, into this voodoo hoodoo type of things, magic. It's really bad, but um, she's going to have legal issues down the road with this. Like I said, it's going to be a big twist. I don't feel like it's all going to be just about, R. Kelly. A lot of the victims are going to be involved in legal things. It's coming out. I feel like she has a battle ahead of her where she's not going to be happy in life, and she may even be depressed and be in a very, very dark phase where she could inflict self-harm into herself. So again, once that R. Kelly goes away, because once he goes away, then things are going to start changing in her life. I feel like she will still kind of wait out and see things, but then she's going to kind of slowly start circling back to herself. It's him being, in control. The fact that he is now in jail, and eventually he may be in prison, that's what I had seen in the, but anything can change, obviously. But we have to see what's going to happen with R. Kelly, if he's really going to prison this time, and if it's really going to be permanent. But I feel like with her, once he's away, that is the person that's controlling her. Some of that magic that has been done, some of that brainwashing, some of that, that she has been conditioned to be like a servant or a slave to him. I hate to use the word slave because I don't like that word at all, but that's what this feels like, when I tune in. I feel like she doesn't even have a sense of identity. You can tell in her eyes here in this photo. It's just like a lost little girl, she's just doesn't have a sense of identity, a sense of self. And she's a beautiful young lady, and she has so much going for her. If she could just get out of this whole thing, I feel like she's wasting her youth on a man who is not stable, and someone who, she says that this is just, professional. It's, that's what she's going to say, it's just professional. She's just with her for her career, to get ahead. But I feel like that's a lie. It's not just about professional. It's not just her career. She really is in love with R. Kelly. There is an unhealthy obsession or connection to him. And, there is going to be some kind of, I don't know if her parents are suing, because like I said, I don't know. I haven't really wanted to look too much into this whole case. I just know what I've said, and, the interview, obviously, and some, facts here and there. But her family is going to be coming into some money. That's what I keep seeing, and she will be reunited with him. I feel like they are waiting for her to come back and to have that connection, and eventually that is something that's going to happen. But for at least another 2 years, I don't see them being really, really happy as a family. And contact will, cease, and there will be this period where she is going through the gigs. She's going to be going through the gigs and basically, lashing out, feeling suicidal herself. It's very possible, and just not, feeling good at all about, not even wanting to go into a new relationship. But, I feel like she's been sworn to secrecy. She's been sworn to not say anything, but she knows a lot. And people are going to want to have interviews with her. Like I said, beyond the guilt thing, they're going to want to have interviews with her on national TV, etc. So, I wouldn't even doubt if she would be someone that would testify in court, should this, get to that point, on R. Kelly's behalf, stating that, what the other girls are saying are all lies, etc., etc. That's how far I feel like it will get. But this is really crazy. This is really a big occult type of craziness. It's a ball of craziness and darkness. And all I can say is that for Jocelyn, I wish her the best, and I hope to God that she gets help as well, professional help, because she needs it. After all of this, I don't care who it is who has been impacted by R. Kelly. The women, all of these women are going to need some kind of counseling, some kind of therapy, and it's going to be years. People don't recover from this kind of trauma and this kind of stuff overnight. It's going to be years before she would ever have a sense of normality. But I think the question here would be, is Jocelyn ever going to like get married? Is she going to have a family and all that? I really feel like that path is going to evade her because of what has happened now. It's very possible, because the future is unwritten, years and years from now, it's very possible that she could get married again, have like a normal life and kind of function. But the girl, the lady that I'm seeing now, who she is right now, and psychically when I tune in, she's damaged. There's just so much damage, and it's not something that you can repair. And I feel like a lot of the women, have tried to reach out to her as well, that were victims. I feel like R. Kelly's ex-wife, has tried to reach out to her, and try to get, some kind of sense, knock some sense into her. But there's some people that just are stubborn, and they have to go through the lessons. And what is her soul relationship to R. Kelly? I really do feel like perhaps this was a karmic relationship, and that's why she feels so bound. Her and the is it Adari, the other girl that is living in, you can comment in the comment section below. I don't remember her name, but I think it's Adari something. But whatever the situation is, my heart goes out to them, and I hope that they find peace, and they, all these victims find peace, and this whole R. Kelly thing, is a wrap pretty soon, because it's just, social media is really, having a field day with him. And even though I'm not defending, what he's done, to a certain point, I feel bad for the man, for the human part of him, because we're all human. But at the same time, I can't, feel bad because of the fact that he hurt people. What he did is disgusting, and it's it's sick. It's really sick, and it's wrong. So, I just hope that he gets help. I hope that, the system or whatever, they give him some kind of, he needs psychological help, and, he needs to really, be isolated away from society. So, I think, in many ways, this whole R. Kelly thing, this whole R. Kelly case is going to be, like I said, a turning point where there's going to be a lot of, even in the white community, where a lot of these leaders and people are going to be caught, and they're going to be held accountable as well. Because, like I said, this is kind of raising awareness and consciousness in the world all over, not just here in the United States, and letting people know that this is very real. The things that are happening are very real, and we can't continue to live as a society and think that it's okay for men to get away with it, and women, because there's women out there as well doing the same thing that R. Kelly has done. You would think that this only is isolated to men at this point, but it's not. And so that is what I get intuitively for Jocelyn and R. Kelly. This is the kind of like the discussion / psychic reading. So blessings and love and light to each and every one of you, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Have a great day or evening wherever you are in the world.